There were a group of jocks when I was a teenager, and I remember the night well. I was with my best friend Jeff. We were driving along in my '64 Buick Wildcat. These jocks were in McDonald's hanging out. One of them was driving Daddy's car, a brand new 1976, or 1-year-old 1976 Buick Electra 225. There were 7 of them. And we drove through, and they gave us funny looks because we were freaks. We weren't jocks. They gave us dirty looks, and they pulled out, and they were driving next to us. They got behind us. And they got up next to us again, and I took my cigarette, and I flicked it onto the hood of their car. And they got behind us and started chasing us and getting closer. And I said to my buddy Jeff, I said, I want you to do 2 things. He said, what's that? I said, flip them off and hang on tight. And he said, what? I said, give them the finger. Do it now. And he did. And a chase ensued that if the police knew about this, I would have been in jail for years. We were going down side streets in Fairview Park at 110 miles an hour. I do not condone this type of behavior for anybody.
I think it's rather disturbing.
Well, it is disturbing. But it's the kind of thing that I'm lucky to be able to sit here and tell you about it. 110 miles an hour down Mastic with a brand new, last year's Buick full of jocks on my tail. And I was a damn good driver even when I was 16 or 17. Damn fine. And I had it all timed out as we approached the intersection of 220 and Mastic that light was going to be just right and that there was a Lincoln Continental getting ready to make a left turn onto 220 and that I'd make it past that Lincoln Continental and that Buick that was behind me because I was starting to lose him a little because I had a more powerful car with its 425 nail head engine in it and not 7 people in it. I had it timed out that I knew I'd make it past that Lincoln Continental and they wouldn't. And I flew through that intersection at about 90 miles an hour. At this point, I didn't know what they planned on doing, but I'm certain they weren't real happy with us. They ended up putting that big Buick into a field and spun it around a couple of times, and I thought we lost them. And they ended up on my tail again. And they ended up chasing me so far and so fast that I ended up pulling into the back of the Fairview police station because I figured, well, maybe they wouldn't follow me there. And I pulled up the ramp to pull out onto Lorraine Road and had to stop. There was traffic everywhere. Everywhere. It was around 9 o'clock on a weekend night, and the entire street, both directions, had cars. And I couldn't get out. And I had to stop the car. We had the windows up, we had the doors locked. There was only 2 of us, and we weren't jocks. And they got out of that car, and they had wooden clubs and axe handles and baseball bats. And they started running up towards my car, and I figured, I'm either going to get the hell beat out of me, or my car screwed up, or my windshield broken, or I'm just going to look for an opening in traffic and I'm going to pull right out. And I just floored it, went right out into traffic, and cars screeched to the brakes on as they tried to avoid me, and I turned my lights off and turned into a gas station that no longer exists, and I remember this to this day. Threw that car in park, and it rolled across the parking lot going brrrr as the park pawl tries to engage in the transmission. Because I didn't want to hit the brakes, because I didn't want them to see the brake lights. And the car lurched to a stop, and there they went, screaming and whooping it up with the windows down and clubs hanging out. They must have known it was me. About that point, I went back to school on Monday, because I had to, and they left me alone. They never bothered me again. But I can understand the hate, because I'll tell you something. If they put that big Buick into a telephone pole at 100 miles an hour, and it burst into flames, and I hate to say this, but if it burst into flames and it killed all 7 of them, I would not have gone to the police. First off, I would have been scared to death of what would have happened to me. But I can understand the hate, because secondly, I couldn't have cared less, because I hated them. I hated them. I disliked them that much when I was 16, 17. And I'll bet you I would have thought about it over the years, now and again. But I doubt it would have changed my life. And as sad as that is to say, I can understand the hatred that goes on in high schools and the cliques and the little groups. And it sucks. It stinks. I couldn't wait to get out of high school. I didn't go to my 10-year class reunion. The only reason I'm going to my 20th year class reunion is because I'm not bald and I'm not fat. And I want to see some of these jerks and their bitch girlfriends, the nose stuck in the air. And I want to see if they've gained 40 or 50 pounds. And I want to see the guys with their hair falling out. Sorry, Dan. Yes, I am number 1. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It was wrong of me to assume that Gilly has no talent.
Yes, it was.